SQL, I'm sure you've had that moment of hesitation, right? You need to remove some data, but which command do you use? Delete, truncate, what about drop? They all sound kind of similar, but you know that picking the wrong one could be, well, a disaster. Okay, let's dive in and clear this up once and for all.
You know, the best way to think about these commands isn't just as code, but as tools, each with a very different job. Are you performing a delicate surgery that needs a scalpel? Are you knocking down a wall with a sledgehammer? Or are you about to hit the big red button and go for the nuclear option? Trust me, choosing the right tool is everything.
All right, let's start with our most precise instrument, the surgical scalpel. In the world of SQL, this is the delete command. And as you're about to see, it's all about giving you fine-grained surgical control over your data. Now, the key thing to notice here is those three letters, DML, which stands for Data Manipulation Language. That tells you its whole purpose. Delete is designed to work with the data inside the table, not the structure of the table itself. It's for managing the contents. And this, right here, shows you its real power. See that where clause? That is the secret sauce. The where clause is what lets you zero in on exactly the rows you want to get rid of. Here, we're only removing the one record for shivam. You can be incredibly specific with this. So the big takeaways for delete are pretty clear. It's a DML command for targeted, specific removal. And here's the real lifesaver. Because the database logs every single row deletion, you can usually roll the whole thing back if you realize you've made a mistake. It's powerful, but it's also got a safety net.
Okay, so that was the scalpel. But what happens when you don't need precision? What if you just need to clear everything out, and fast? Well, that's when you put down the scalpel and you pick up the sledgehammer. Truncate.
And notice the big change right away? Truncate is a DDL, or Data Definition Language command. This is a huge difference. It's not going row by row manipulating data. Nope, it's basically redefining the table as empty. It's way, way faster because it doesn't bother logging every individual row it removes. And just look at that syntax. It is as blunt as a sledgehammer. Truncate table EMP mail. That's it. Notice what's missing? There's no where clause. You don't get to pick and choose. Truncate is all or nothing, every single row. Gone.
So, to sum it up, truncate is a DDL command, it's lightning fast, and it takes no prisoners. It wipes all the data from the table, but, and this is important, it leaves the empty table structure behind ready for new data.
Which brings us to our final and by far most destructive tool. If a sledgehammer isn't enough, if you need to level the entire building and the foundation it's on, then you reach for the nuclear option, drop.
Just like truncate, this is a DDL command, but it goes one giant, terrifying step further. It doesn't just get rid of the data, it gets rid of the table itself. The columns, the indexes, the permissions, the entire object is just vaporized from the database.
The syntax is, well, fittingly simple and final. Drop table, emp, mail. After you run this command, that table is just a memory. If you try to query it, the database will basically say, emp mail? Never heard of it. So the thing you have to burn into your memory is its finality. This action is irreversible. There's no undo button. The data is gone, the structure is gone, the table just ceases to exist. You use this one with extreme caution. This little chart here just lays it all out perfectly. You've got your precise row-level delete. In the middle, you've got the fast, all-data clearing, truncate. And then at the far end, you have the total annihilation of drop. Scalpel, sledgehammer, nuclear option. It really clicks when you see them side by side like this.
Okay, so these commands are obviously very powerful and maybe a little bit terrifying. So you might be asking, how am I supposed to get comfortable with these without, accidentally wiping out my company's entire database?
Well, let me introduce you to your new best friend, temporary tables. Think of this as your own personal sandbox, a consequence-free playground where you can build all sorts of things and then tear them all down without any permanent damage.
A temporary table is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a real table. You can insert data, you can query it, you can even drop it. But here's the magic. It only exists as long as you're connected. The moment you disconnect, poof, it vanishes automatically. And the whole process is incredibly simple. First, you create the table. Then you toss some sample data in there to play with. Then you go wild. Experiment with delete, truncate, drop. See what happens. When your session ends, the database cleans it all up for you. It's the perfect, safe learning environment. So how do you make one of these? It's almost ridiculously easy. The syntax is pretty much identical to creating a normal table. You just pop a little hash symbol, a pound sign, right there in front of the table name. That one little character is what tells SQL, hey, this one's just temporary. Don't make it permanent. So there you have it, the scalpel, the sledgehammer, and the nuclear option. You now know what they do, when to use them, and
Most importantly, how to practice with them safely. The power to manage data, to create and destroy it, is in your hands. So the only question left is,